Peace, power, and prosperity, everyone. How's everybody doing? You know who this is by now, Rob Blackstorm. Hope everybody's doing well. This weekly reading is starting on the 18th. And what is the last day of this week? May 18th, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. So the 24th. So May 18th to the 24th. This is the weekly reading. This is, again, the Metal Nettle Oracle deck featured, the Oracle of Tahuti, Twanater, featured in the book Metu Neter, Volume 1 by Ra'u Nefer Amen. These cards are oracle cards, again, based on the Oracle of Tahuti, and what they are using is deities that are featured in the actual hieroglyph. All right. I am not a member of a Source Society, but I have been using these cards for 20 years. All right. Now, let's get into it. So, now we all know coronavirus has been happening. It's been a crazy week. Crazy, couple of months that's been going on. We're over 60 days now with this quarantine, right? And we know that they are basically not, right now we're not getting none of the right information from no outlets. So as I've been kind of talking about, and I will say preaching, is to think for yourself. That's what I've been talking about probably the last couple of weeks and focused on, because we are getting a lot of misinformation, not only from the news, the media, but also from friends and family who just mean well and don't really know better. And I want to say this before I get into the reading. If you have older family members, right, people who are 50, 60s, 70s, 80s even, don't come to them, trying to talk metaphysics or trying to, speak of these esoteric high spiritual things. You could try your best to calm them down, but you have to remember some of these people, 60, 70 years, they've been conditioned to watch TV. They've been conditioned to listen to the news. They've been, reading the newspaper. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have a way of researching. They didn't have a way of diving deeper into understanding, these nuances. I started this journey in the 90s. I had to go to the library. I had to be knee deep in Barnes and Nobles. There was no internet, or, well, there was an internet, but barely anybody was using it. And, you had to have a big ass computer in your house and wait, for 10, 15 minutes, dial up to even get a signal. So most people didn't have computers, people didn't have smartphones, people didn't have access to the level of information and the quick access to information that you have now. So be easy on your parents, be easy on grandma, be easy on grandpa. They mean well, they want you to wear the mask. They want you to wear it. Just say, Ma, I feel safe. I have faith, talk to them in terms they understand, Jesus, whatever. All right. So that's just a quick PSA real quick. Now let's get into this reading. It's also in the spirit of this. So the first card is the situation. Second card is the outcome. So this is a weekly reading, right, for all of us, right? So that's how I query the oracle. So if you look at this first card, you will see that it is Het Heru. Now, Het Heru is what they would call in the Yoruba system Oshun, right? Now, Het Heru, Oshun, same thing, right? And you'll see a lot of parallels, just like you'll see Heru is Jesus, or Ser or what they call Osiris would be considered the God figure or the father figure in the pantheon or the cosmology of Egyptian theology, which is where pretty much every religion came from, right? So, but Het Heru is the same thing as Oshun. So if you look at the colors, green and yellow, right? Yellow sunlight, green vegetation. If you notice she is got a flower. She's got a flower in her, sniffing a sunflower, right? So she's all about fun. She's all about, good things. She's all about laughter. This is a love-making deity. As you know, it is getting warmer. It's May, right? So people are getting happy. A lot of social distancing. Some guidelines are easing. Some businesses are opening up. Some states are opening up. So people are going outside. People are venturing. And this is representative of that. Springtime, things are growing. So this is representative of that. But if we look at this holistically, let's start with the mental. So mentally, this is stating that overall, especially with the retrogrades that are happening, we have to train our mind. And this disc, the Aten or the solar disc, is a representative of that. And that is a representative of you bringing light, or what they call enlightenment, right? The sun, enlightenment. So you're bringing light in mentally. So, and this is what they would call two ma'at, which means that you have one, there's one dot, it's not balanced. So this is basically saying that you got to put work in, right? So in order to get your imagination flowing, you're going to have to put the work in. So what does that mean? You having to watch the information that you're listening to, watch the things that you're seeing, watch the things that you're hearing. And most of all, watch the things that you're telling yourself. But this primarily deals with not just mostly verbal communication, but Het Heru is really about the imagination, very right brain focused, right? It's all about holisticness, joy, happiness, partying, sexuality. This week, last week, probably Friday, you probably felt a strong urge Friday, Saturday, this weekend to have sex, to be sexually involved with somebody. Well, that's this energy, and the energy of the retrogrades as well that we are under. But definitely this energy is chief and is still running this week. So a lot of that's going to be happening. So you have to be careful of the people you're going to be around, because based on the vibe, you could definitely be very influenced and swept up in this joyful, loving energy. But it may not be, everything that it's cracked up to be. So with your imagination, the way you train your imagination is just by constantly, the same way they train you with commercials, right? You see a commercial over and over and over. Eventually, you know what that commercial probably could say, There's some commercials I see that I could probably recite, those 15-second clips, because I've seen it so much. So it's the same thing you do with your mind, repetition over and over and over and over again. Okay. So that's how you strengthen your visualization. As you see, Het Heru is the number 7. Number 7 represents completion. All right. So when we're dealing with, completion, but it also represents a godhood, is coming out of balance and also exerting yourself. All right. So that's the Het Heru portion of this. Now let's get into the second card, which is Hera Kahuti. Hera Kahuti is basically Heru activated, right? It's and Heru deals with the willpower. Heru is a falcon, so falcons have great sight. Falcons are the fastest animal. Falcons are great hunters as well, great aerial hunters. So Heru is a representative of that. And if you want to look at Heru in the Yoruba tradition or Ifa, you will see that is Shango as well, right? But Hera Kahuti is a different story, right? Hera Kahuti is not really on that tip. Hera Kahuti is more like, it's not just about willpower. It's not just about overcoming. Hera Kahuti is like, I'm going to war, right? If you look, you see the top is purple. Purple is a representation of your crown chakra, of your highest chakras, as you go up the ladder. Even the sun at its height, they say it's ultraviolet rays, right? So if the ultraviolet, there you go, right? So you see the red at the bottom going up and another red on top, showing that this is activated, right? The higher self is activated. But as you see, he got warrior tools, sickle, spear. So this reading totally is representing, and this is actually what you would call a Tem reading or Tem Cha'as. And what this is saying is that, yeah, we have this influence of joy and happiness and laughter and party and good tiding and imagination. But globally, going from the global scale, we're going to see, again, a lot of people are expanding. They're knowing the truth. They're, watching Pandemic, watching my video, Scamdemic, doing their own independent researching, seeing what Fauci and Gates and all them. So they're becoming enlightened. They're taking the steps, right? But there's going to be a lot of government pushback this week. You're going to see a lot of, people that are, a lot of authority figures that are going to be really pushing back on people coming out, police, probably being aggressive, trying to break people up as they have been, but probably in more states now instead of just New York. Um, you're just going to be seeing a lot of pushback from the powers that be that are trying to keep this illusion and this scam going. Also, in personal life, well, this combination is also one where there will be a lot of misunderstandings in relationships because people will really be in their feelings. So there's going to be a lot of misunderstanding in relationships. With this particular card this week, again, there's going to be relationships, right? Heracles is like cut. So there may be some breakups this week. There may be some separations, right? Heracles' main word is cut, which, Heracles type of deity, if you want to get rid of like bad habits, you smoking cigarettes, your excessive drinking, excessive smoking. This is the deity energy, not the deity itself, because we don't worship. We honor and we invoke, right? So this would be a deity that you would use or to help invoke and get that spiritual power. So personally, on a personal level, mentally, looking at it holistically, this deity is again saying that it's going to be a rough rough week to kind of cut off habits. A lot of people are going to be, again, in their feelings and their emotions, but the way you should handle this week is to put your best foot forward through your imagination, through your visualizations, through your meditations, and then you will turn this negative into a positive, right? You will be able to cut off some things. You'll be able to move forward for your best self, but you got to put in the work. And it's saying societally that this will again be a week where you're going to see just a lot of aggressiveness from the government, a lot of things happening in big government circles, in big powerful circles that are going to try to suppress the people. So keep your eye out. It's nothing to be scared of, because if you're thinking positive, if you're visualizing positive, then no weapon, no hex, no government, nothing formed against you shall prosper, right? Because you are guided by your ancestors and you have the power of 75 trillion cells that vibrate within you, right? That are connected to everything in the universe. So do not fear, but always be prepared. Like, share, subscribe. Leave me, any questions, anything in the comments. If you do want a reading, the contact information is below. I said I was going to do some live readings yesterday, Sunday, so forgive me. I'm mad I didn't keep my word on that, but I ended up doing like 3 readings. Also, shout out to y'all who have been coming to me for readings. Shout out to y'all who have been coming to me, for consultations, for spell work, for different things like that. I do appreciate it, and I'm happy to serve. That is my purpose. Again, peace, power, and prosperity, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. Peace. Oh, one more thing before I go. With this particular reading, you could also overindulge, right? This is with joy, passion, vitality. It also deals with drugs, people getting high, people overindulging in, medication and stuff like that. Also, this is significant, right? Because people will have a weak will or won't have the strength, or will also have outside forces that are going to stop them from growing. So be careful, the people in your family that are affected by that.